The book is here. The book is here, my friend. I'm so excited to announce that my new book, my first book, Be Seen, Find Your Voice, Build Your Brand, Live Your Dream, is officially available for pre-order. Oh my gosh, such an exciting moment. And I'm so grateful that you are hearing this because it means that you can go pre-order and get some of my really dope bonuses. Now, I love to incentivize people to take action fast because momentum begets momentum. So I want you to go and pre-order. And when you do, head on over to jengottlieb.com/beseen and put in your order information so you can get the bonuses for pre-ordering. The bonuses are amazing. First, immediately you're going to get the recording of me reading the introduction and the first chapter to the book. So you can listen to the intro and the first chapter before anybody else. And it's me reading it, so you're going to get a lot of different little behind the scenes nuggets. You'll also get a special invite to my very first Manifestation Masterclass virtual event. Now, this is a 2-hour virtual event that I'm going to do where it's the first time I've ever taught manifestation in that kind of atmosphere where it's a place where you can ask me questions and we're together on Zoom. It's going to be epic. So everybody that pre-orders is going to get an opportunity to join me for that Manifestation Masterclass. So I can't wait to see you there. I'm so excited for you to get the book in your hands and for you to get those amazing bonuses. So go on over to jengottlieb.com/beseen and order your book wherever you want to order it from, but put that order number into the website so you can get the bonuses. Go do it. I dare you. Can't wait to hear what you think. Our thoughts don't make us who we are. Our actions and our beliefs make us who we are. Our thoughts are just thoughts. You know that you think thoughts that are untrue. It's taking a beat and asking yourself, what's true about this thought? Is this thought true? Or do I have a tool that I can use to get me thinking a different thought instead? To shift my belief so that I can take action in a different way?
What if today was the day that you dared yourself to do what you've always wanted? Welcome to the I Dare You podcast. I'm your host, Jen Gottlieb, and together we're going to step outside of our comfort zones and into our best lives, one dare at a time. So come on, I dare you to dive right on in.
So what I was thinking about this morning in a really big way was how this one strategy that I do has absolutely transformed my life, probably more than anything that I've ever done in the personal development space. Let me preface this by saying I am a student of personal development. Everything that I've created is really an example of the power of studying personal growth and personal development and the strategies and tools that I've used from reading books, listening to podcasts, and just really, quote unquote, I hate to say this, but drinking the Kool-Aid of the personal development space for so long. When I lost everything, and including the TV show that I was on and the relationship that I was in, and I was at a rock bottom moment and I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do or where to turn, and I was in a desperation mode and my back was against the wall, I started exploring the personal growth space, which I was never interested in before, but I really just decided I have nothing to lose. I'm going to dive on in. I started just practicing gratitude for the first time in my life and visualization for the first time in my life and exploring having a more positive and optimistic mindset and a more growth mindset. And instead of being a victim, really looking at trying to look at the good and why experiences were teaching me something in order for me to grow and to be a better person and the power of connection, all those things. I started really learning about it and then putting myself in environments and experiences like events and like different online groups where I could really dive in even deeper and be around other people who also were thinking the same way as me. So everything that I am now is basically the outcome of studying personal growth and personal development. I am a student of this. And what you're looking at is really the outcome of what happens when you consistently really dive in to actively choosing to think different thoughts and choosing to change the way that maybe your brain has been working for a really, really long time. And I am proof that, the only reason that I can say this to you is because it is my actual experience in life that I used to be a totally different person than I am now, like completely. And I like to remind myself that people can change because I used to be an unbelievably negative person back in the day. I was an unbelievably pessimistic person. I would complain a lot. I was a complainer. Like if you were to introduce me to the girl that I was 10 years ago, I wouldn't like that girl very much. I would not want to be friends with that girl. That girl was a totally different person from the one that I am now. And so the reason that I'm saying that and sitting here saying this to you is just to remind you that if you feel like maybe there's somebody in your life that is incapable of change, or you want to change, but you feel like it's really difficult, or you don't know if you can, I want to remind you that it is possible to change. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens with a lot of work and a lot of intention and a lot of choosing and a lot of discomfort, quite a bit of discomfort. But I always remind myself that on the other side of discomfort is always growth. Always discomfort that comes from exercise, where you get unbelievably uncomfortable during that exercise. But if you do it for long enough, you're going to actually see growth, not only in your muscles and your body and your ability to run faster or jump higher or whatever, but growth in the way that your physique works, or growth in the way that your mind thinks about exercise and how much you can overcome when it comes to being able to experience pain or uncomfortable physical feelings. But whenever you're able to also experience discomfort and sit in the discomfort of life, whether that is having to make a really difficult decision or having a difficult conversation or making a big move that's really scary, starting something new that feels unbelievably uncomfortable, and you're feeling like an imposter and you're feeling not good enough and you're feeling petrified and you're feeling scared and you're taking a risk, but you do that thing and you get to the other side, you always learn something, you always grow, you always become better, you always prove to yourself just how powerful you are. And doing that a bunch over time will change the tape that's playing in your brain. The only way to do it, though, is to consistently take action and practice doing it. So I do this practice every single day called MAP moments. And I want to tell you how it came to be, because many of you probably know about my MAP moments, and maybe you've tried it before, and maybe it's part of your daily routine now, hopefully as well. It's so powerful, but I want to let you know how it came to be. So several years ago, I had a different therapist than I have now. She was a great therapist. This was the gift that she gave me. I feel like everybody comes into your life for a season or a reason. And she didn't end up being my forever therapist, but she did give me this fabulous gift. So when I was working with her, she told me, I was dealing with still really working through my body image issues and really healing from my eating disorder. And there was a tool that she gave me that was geared to help me really remember that to be grateful for my body and what it does for me instead of the way that it looks. So she told me that after I worked out, she wanted me to lay down on the mat and do a body scan and thank all of my body parts for the work that they put in, and really feel my body, thank my hands, thank my feet, thank my arms, my elbows for being able to bend, thank my shoulders for being able to move, thank my feet for being able to keep me upright and allow me to stand and walk, and thank my quads and my glutes, and do a full body scan and thank my entire body. So I started doing this after I would work out, and it started being a really great, consistent routine that I would do. I'd lay on the mat and I would thank my body. But there was one other thing that I started to do after I would thank my body, and I would lay on the mat and I would thank my body parts, and I'd look up at the sky and I would thank God. And this is not a religious talk. This is whatever God is to you, higher power is to you, whatever that is, the universe. I'd be like, thank you, God, for letting me move today and for bringing me here to this day. And what I would realize is, wow, I always end up back on this damn mat looking up at the ceiling. No matter how nervous I was about something that happened yesterday that I didn't want to get through, or how much I didn't want to just do that workout, or how scared I was or nervous I was to make the decision that I needed to make yesterday, or how nervous I was about the day being able to show up in the way that I needed to show up, no matter what, that ended. And now I'm here on this damn mat. I always end up back on the mat, no matter how hard the situation was, no matter how uncomfortable I was, no matter how much I didn't want to do that last rep. I either did it or I didn't, but either way, time doesn't stop, and I'm always going to end up back on this stupid mat looking up at the ceiling. So how do I want to feel when I end up back on the mat? How do I want to feel? Do I want to feel like, oh, Jenny, you phoned it in. You didn't really push yourself that hard. Like you could have done better. Or do I want to feel like, man, I'm really proud of myself the way that I showed up. I pushed through that uncomfortable moment, and now I've proven to myself that no matter what, discomfort's only temporary, and I always end up back on this stupid mat. Always, no matter what. Time doesn't stop. It's going to keep going no matter what. It's how you show up during that time of discomfort that makes you the person that you become. And so I did it this morning. I told myself, you're going to be on this Stairmaster for 1 hour. Actually, I do 61 minutes because I like to do one more. 61 minutes. You are not going to stop. And there were so many times during that 61 minutes that I wanted to say to myself, or that I like, it's okay. You can get off now. It's okay. You did enough. Like, you don't need to finish. There were so many times. I think there was at least 5 times when my brain tried to negotiate with me that I could get off the Stairmaster. But you want to know what kept me on that damn Stairmaster? The idea that I wanted to lay down on the mat, look up at the ceiling, and I knew no matter what, I was going to end up on that mat. I knew no matter what. And I wanted to say to myself, you did what you said you were going to do. You stick to the commitments that you make. You did it. You fought that negative voice in your mind that said you can't do it. You fought it and you rose to the occasion and you won. So I kept thinking about who do I want to be when I lay on that mat? And sure enough, I ended up on the mat because you always do. No matter how you show up, you still end up on the mat, or you end up in your bed, or you end up taking a bow, or you end up at dinner with your family. You end up, time doesn't stop. You end up at that moment. How do you want to feel? And I laid on that mat and I thanked my body parts and I thanked God and I said, man, I thanked myself. I stuck to the commitment that I made and I showed up, and that immediately put a coin in my confidence bank, and it gave me momentum for the rest of my day. It put me in a good mood. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that I have laid on the mat in a version of myself that did not accomplish what I said I was going to, and it's no fun. Because then I just feel bad about myself. And that does not kickstart my day with a good mood, with motivation, with inspiration, with joy, with hope, with excitement. It doesn't. It starts my day off with like, wow, I didn't stick to the first commitment that I made with myself. In the grand scheme of life, 1 hour is like 1 second. I'm not even going to remember that moment on that treadmill that really sucked tomorrow. I'm probably not. I'm not even going to remember it. But it was such a big deal in that moment. It was such a fight. But you know what I am going to remember? Over time, I'm going to remember every single time I stuck to the commitments I made with myself, because that's putting confidence coins in your bank over time. That's making me a more confident person, because the next time that something difficult comes my way, it doesn't have to be a physical exercise. It could be a difficult conversation. It could be a big move that I need to make in my business. It could be a big stage that I'm really petrified to speak on, or an ask that I need to make that I'm scared to do. I'm always going to remember that I'm the type of person that sticks to my commitments, and no matter what, time doesn't stop. I'm going to end up in my bed tonight. How do I want to feel? Did I rise to the occasion, or did I phone it in? This is what drives me, you guys. And I want you guys, you can ask yourself, how do you want to feel when your head hits the pillow tonight? Or you could ask yourself, how do you want to feel at the end of the week? On Friday, when you shut it down and you go have a beautiful weekend with your family, do you want to feel like you really showed up this week and you made shit happen and you invested in your future self and you made yourself proud? Or do you want to feel like, I let fear or discomfort get to me and I didn't fully show up as my best self this week? Are you going to have a better weekend knowing that you freaking crushed it? Or are you going to have a better weekend knowing that you showed up for yourself and you really did the work? Discomfort is always only temporary. And if you are listening to this right now, congratulations. It means that you have gotten through every unbelievably uncomfortable moment in your life. You've gotten through it. Congratulations. You have, if you're sitting here right now listening to this. How can you master self-validation? First of all, I'm not a master of self-validation. So unfortunately, I won't be able to tell you how I've mastered self-validation, but I can tell you how I've helped myself or when I'm experiencing things like limiting beliefs or negative self-talk, how I can then validate myself, and some strategies that I use personally to help me feel really good about myself and celebrate myself, reminding myself just how great I am. So here's the thing. Many of us, and including myself, will spend way too much time in today's day and age. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. This might be a big statement to make, but I would say the majority of people now, especially if you're on this Instagram Live watching this, it means you spend time on social media, will spend time on social media scrolling and having at least one moment of comparison during that experience of social media scrolling. I do it. And this is what I do. I will not even realize I'm doing it. And I all of a sudden will be scrolling, and 15 minutes later, I will feel bad about myself because I had just scrolled and looked at a whole highlight reel of all of the greatest moments of everybody's lives. And then immediately I started to feel less than and forgot anything that I've been doing that made me feel good about myself, and start thinking that I'm not good enough because I'm not doing all of the amazing things that everybody else is putting out there on a regular basis. And here's a few things that I always have to remind myself of. Number one, people are posting the greatest parts of their life. They're not posting the realness that's going on, because that's social media. That's what it is. I'm not mad at it. It's just no one's going to go online and be like, I just got in the biggest fight with my husband ever and we almost got divorced. No, they're going to say, this is the beautiful vacation that we just went on yesterday. That's just what social media is, and that's okay, and that's what it is. So you just have to remind yourself of that, and you have to scroll carefully. And so I will do this thing where I start to scroll mindlessly and start to compare myself, and then start to feel less than, start to forget the wonderful things about my life. And the gratitude practice that I would do in the morning suddenly disappeared, and I forget, and I'm not feeling grateful for anything, and I'm just feeling not good enough. And I'm being really vulnerable with you guys and sharing this with you in the hopes that it makes you feel a little bit less alone if you feel that way. Because I have a feeling that if I'm feeling that way, a lot of other people are feeling that way. And I know that when I hear from somebody else that they feel the same way as me, it makes me feel less alone. It makes me feel a little bit more normal. And it helps to take away the negative feelings I feel about myself for even having those feelings. So that's why I share that with you. I just want to always be completely honest with the things that are going on in my mind. And if this isn't you and it doesn't resonate with you, then that's amazing and good on you. That's so cool. And I hope to one day get to the point where that doesn't happen to me. But I feel like in today's day and age, no matter what, it's going to creep up, and we just need to have the skills or the tools to be able to deal with it when it does. So how do I validate myself consistently to help myself feel good about myself? Or when I start to spiral and scroll and go down the rabbit hole of maybe not feeling enough, or imposter syndrome, or feeling like I don't have everything that everybody else has, or whatever thoughts that we start to have, or not validating our worth or ourselves. So what I will do is I'll turn to my badass list. And I write about this in the book. There's an entire chapter about it called the badass, or it's this little list will change your life. And I know for a fact that when I'm experiencing imposter syndrome, it's usually because I'm forgetting how great I am. And that's what we forget sometimes, because we spend a lot of time looking at other people and feeling all of a sudden and forgetting like all of the wonderful, amazing, badass things we've got going on in our lives. It's easy to forget because we're not reminding ourselves of that all the time because we're doing life. And it's not at the forefront. So sometimes we need to remind ourselves. So I have a list in my phone. It's in the notes in my phone. It's my badass list. And it's a list of all of the times in my life when I've felt like a badass, or things that I've done that I'm very, very, very proud of. And this could be work things. It could be life things. It could be anything. But your badass list is always growing and evolving. And believe me, I was scared to write my badass list in the chapter. I told my editor, I was like, I really didn't want to write that. That feels like braggy and yucky. And I actually wrote that part in the book too. I was like, believe me, I don't want to write my badass list here. It just doesn't feel good to me to do that, but I'm doing it to inspire you to also write down your badass list and show you what kinds of moments can be on your badass list. And it could be, maybe you ran a marathon. Maybe the day you spoke on a stage in front of people for the first time. Maybe the day you gave birth to a human. Maybe you overcame an illness that was really difficult and you overcame it. Maybe you took care of somebody in your family for a while. Maybe it was the day you made your first sale in your side hustle. Maybe it was the day you discovered that you loved surfing. Whatever that moment was for you, I want you to write down all the moments in your life that you were a badass. Everything. And you've got that badass list for you. That's your tool. You've got it there forever. Whenever you're feeling like you need some validation or a reminder that you're great, or you're feeling less than, or you're feeling like you're comparing yourself to other people on the internet, or you're just feeling like, God, I'm not good enough for this. Who am I to be doing this? All of those normal feelings that come into our mind every once in a while, I want you to pull out your badass list and I want you to read it out loud. But you're going to read it out loud as if you're reading it about somebody else. Okay? You're not reading about you. You're reading about somebody on the internet that you're comparing yourself to. Okay? Just like you're scrolling and you see somebody that's doing all these amazing things. And I want you to take a second and I want you to absolutely marvel at that person. Like, be impressed with that person. Oh, maybe even be a little jealous of that person. Wow, that person is so cool. Wow, that person's done really amazing things. Holy crap. Be impressed with them. And then remind yourself that that person is you. And if that person can do all of those things, whoa, what else is that person capable of? That is how I validate myself and remind myself, that I'm special, I am unique, and I'm capable, and I'm worthy. And I share that with you from my point of view so that you can also give yourself permission to do that yourself. We are all humans with human thoughts. Our brains think uncontrollably. Our brain has thoughts. Our thoughts don't make us who we are. Our actions and our beliefs make us who we are. Our thoughts are just thoughts. You know that you think thoughts that are untrue. It's taking a beat and asking yourself, what's true about this thought? Is this thought true? Or do I have a tool that I can use to get me thinking a different thought instead, to shift my belief so that I can take action in a different way? That's how this shit works, guys. That's how it works. It doesn't mean we're going to be perfect all the time. Perfect is so boring. No movie had a perfect plot. If it did, it would be a boring movie. We like movies and shows because they have this kind of a plot. Something bad happens and then they fix it and something amazing happens. That's life, and that's what makes it beautiful and exciting and makes our story at the end so unbelievably powerful. It's okay if you're not perfect. It's okay if your thoughts aren't perfect. It's okay if your posts online aren't perfect. It's okay if your writing isn't perfect. It's okay. Because every time you do it and you put it out imperfectly, you learn a little something for the next time. It teaches you every time. It helps create those beliefs. It helps create that confidence. It helps create those ideas that lead you to the thing that actually moves the needle in a really big way and helps someone and impacts somebody else and build something great. But if you didn't just do it imperfectly or allow it to be imperfect or allow it to be messy, then you're taking away the opportunity for you to learn and grow. And you're just going to stay the same all the time. You know what show we're watching right now? The Bear. So good. We started watching it when it first came out, and I'm really glad that we stopped and then picked it up now that season 2 is out. I love every second there's a challenge that they're facing or something that they do that messes everything up. And then they took that challenge or the thing that messed everything up, and it actually ended up being for them in some kind of weird way. And they used that mess up or that challenge to be able to pivot and create something epic out of it. And then another challenge happens, and it's just so lifey. It's so lifey. It's so good. It's such a great reminder to me that, like, yeah, life's going to get lifey. Shit's going to go down, and it's not necessarily always going to be fun. It's not, unfortunately. It's not always going to be good, but if it was always good, then we wouldn't know what good is. They had to have the breakdown moment. They had to have the shit hit the fan in order for the good thing to happen, for it to actually be a monumental, amazing moment. And that's life. I don't even want to take away for a second if you're struggling with something that's hard, that hurts. A lot of life is that. And that's what it is. And it sucks. And I'm not going to go ever down that toxic positivity route where everything's great and it's all just, yay, let's just look at it with a smile and optimism. Sometimes things just suck. What I will tell you is the more that you can move through that suck and feel the suck and embrace the suck and be inside of that discomfort and allow yourself to experience discomfort and prove to yourself that you can do hard things and you can experience discomfort even though it hurts and it sucks and it's painful, but you can find tools and things to use to be able to move through that easier, whether that's a therapist or a community or a mentor or a podcast or a book or a strategy or whatever, and that can help you get through it even though it sucks and it hurts and it's no fun, and you get to the other side and you've learned something from that and you've proven to yourself that you're more equipped than you could have ever imagined, and you use that equipness and you use that confidence that you built over that time to go then and do something freaking epic, then all of a sudden it makes sense. That's what life is. That's personal growth. But it's not, personal growth is not just looking at everything like it's the greatest thing in the world. That's not personal development. Personal development is actually understanding that this fucking sucks, but I can get through it anyway. I can do it. It's going to suck. But I know that on the other side of this, no matter what, I'm going to end up in my bed. I'm going to end up on the mat. Time doesn't stop. It's not going to be permanent. I'm not going to be feeling this discomfort forever. But how do I want to reflect on this, on how I showed up? Was I a warrior or did I wussy out? That's it. That's it.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the I Dare You podcast. I'm so grateful you chose to spend this time with me, but I'm even more grateful for your future self, that you are building one dare at a time. So my first dare for you is to subscribe to the show and then share it with a friend who you think needs to step a little bit more outside their comfort zone and into their best lives. They'll thank you for it. I'll see you next time on the I Dare You podcast.